Alrighty. Alright, good evening everybody. What is up? What's up, what's up, what's up? Go ahead and tag everybody one last time.
Chris and Mark. They delivered Bitcoin and Ethereum. While Chris is using each row to trade on cryptocurrencies.
Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. Perfect. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I had my chat open. Alright, those of you in the Discord, make sure you guys drop those requests in the chart request channel. I'll get to those first. What's up? Good evening, everybody. We're going to get right to it. Pretty excited for this week, trying to get a definitive idea of where we're going to be heading in the future, the next couple of weeks here. Got a lot of hungry bears in my DMs, so hopefully going over this week will kind of starve them off. So there's an echo. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, can you hear me now? Let's see. Is that better? It went really good. Weekend was pretty relaxing. I got to hang out with the family. Is the echo okay now? Testing. Okay. All right, one second. I'll figure this out. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, I think I got it. All right. Can you guys hear me now? Is there an echo now? I'm not Yeah, it should be good now. I think so. Eating and listening. Nourish thyself. Of course, Daniel. Not a problem, brother. All right. I do have two mics inputting, so I just went ahead and shut off one of the inputs. So let me know if this works, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. If it doesn't work, just let me know. I'll go back and I'll fix it. But hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Perfect. Let's go. Okay, so right off the bat, I just want to give you guys the most important factors that we're going to be dealing with going into this week, and that of course is our market data. We have existing home sales, new home sales, durable orders, EIA crude inventories on the 25th. Relatively high impact data coming out towards the 26th with initial claims, continuing claims for unemployment. So we'll get a kind of an idea on where we're going to be heading with that. We also have personal income, personal spending, PCI prices, PCI core prices that also are high impact data as well. So those of you also who didn't with the whole Benzinga thing, I put below this video, I just saw the thing right here. I put below this video the discount code and the link for Benzinga Pro if you guys are interested in using Benzinga. We are recently partnered with them. So anyway, let's go real quick. Let me grab my news. Thanks. All right, so let me pull this up really quick. All right. Alrighty, so looking back at this last week that we went through, just looking at all of our major indexes, the S&P was down 0.45%, the NASDAQ was down 0.38%, the Russell 2000 down 25.45%, and the Dow was down about 1.04%. So we are coming off of a relatively red week. We're going to take a look at all four charts and get a look at the weeklies and really see what these charts are telling us, because I think think a lot of people are starting to feel really, really bearish. And when retail starts to feel bearish, that ought to tell you something. So, all right. So hold on one second. Yeah, so one thing to also think about before I even go any further is that we're pretty much done with like our significant earnings season. And that's kind of that excitement and that hot air, I guess, that kind of kept us afloat. And now that that's kind of deflating, it's going to be mostly reliant on data, coronavirus, and those things aren't looking super duper great. So, um, but just to go over our earnings week that we have coming up, we'll go over here really quick to StockTwits. All right, so this week we got JD. Some of the top ones I'll go over. JD's on Mondays, one of the bigger names. Tuesday, 24 companies reporting. Best Buy, PDD, Nordstrom are some of the big Intuit, and ORPH. Wednesday, one of our favorites, Snow, CRM, Splunk, Ulta, Box, and then Thursday we got Dollar Tree, XPEV. So keep those on your radar as long as the market is permitting movement to the upside. So, um, other than that, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to get straight to it. One thing I did want to share with you guys is my Bitcoin analysis and my Ethereum analysis. I know I'm not the crypto guy, but I do see I mean, I was able to kind of call the top last year on that third rejection on that ascending triangle here. Um, and so I'm kind of seeing some similar movement. Now, it is a usual thing to retest the same levels that you've broken. And if the stock market ends up correcting, Bitcoin, I don't know if it has the strength to fight against that type of movement. And normally, when the stock market crashes or the stock market corrects, so does the Bitcoin. And as I see it, at the moment, you guys are probably already seeing what I'm about to show you, but this is a potential reversal pattern here on Bitcoin. And the same thing here with Ethereum. So if you start off this low here, you can see that it is starting to build a bit of a reversal pattern here. So just something to keep in mind as we go forward, because a lot of times you can see things starting to build within the crypto market that will also reflect the stock market. So it's important to know how most professional traders will tell you that you should never just know about one thing in the markets. It's important to know what futures are, how people trade currency, that kind of stuff. It's all worth keep an eye on. So all right, so we're going to take a look here and start with, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, let's see here. Let's go ahead and start with SPY. Obviously, super duper important. I want to mark this gap out because I think it's really suspicious. So right off the bat, guys, we did rebound relatively well. One thing that was a little weird is that we usually rebound off of the 50-day EMA. That didn't happen. What we did is we actually went and retested the 9-day moving average, and we're actually right up against that 9-day moving average, and on top of the whole ribbon indicator. But one thing that I wanted to do is take a step out here and look at the weekly. So if you look back at previous pullbacks that we've had on the stock market, you'll notice that you get almost like this run up, kind of like, and this of course had a catalyst, but there's almost like this reversal candle here. And we have been kind of fighting with that HMA. That's that 500 HMA. That's a major trend sitting HMA as well. But sorry guys, kind of hard. I have allergies really bad right now, so I'm trying to breathe and talk. But with SPY, and the way that it's moving right now, and the volume that I'm seeing, and the way that everything is squeezing, this candle here in particular, bouncing off of the 9-day moving average, has me thinking that we could possibly pull back this next coming week and I think that I can't predict this type of stuff, guys, but whenever the market is meant to go up, and as long as there's something that is going to allow it to go up, it'll continue to bleed up. But whenever you have a catalyst like negative coronavirus numbers or unemployment numbers that continue to go down, that's the type of thing that should, it kind of signifies weakness to me in the market. So when I'm looking at SPY right now, I'm seeing that type of weakness. You know, we get a relatively weak bounce off of that 9-day moving average, and we're still staying bearish, but for the most part, I'm seeing that, and you'll notice that last week we had a lot going to the sell side, and so I'm thinking that there is a possibility, as not calling this the top, but if we do continue to move up, it's likely not going to be much further than here. And you guys will notice that if you looked at the flow in our chat, that most of that was speaking to the downside on both the Qs, SPY, and most of your major Facebooks, Microsofts, Roku, Baba, all that good stuff. So those of you in the Discord, if you guys are watching, make sure to go to chart request in the Discord and drop your chart request in there. That way I can actually post the charts when I get done charting them. So first SPY, just to keep this simple, I know I'm kind of overdoing SPY, but above 443.75, of course, the immediate target is going to be around 446 and that previous high around 447. I don't think it's out of the question that we still rebound, but usually when we break a level, we retest it. So it's going to be Monday, in my opinion, where we kind of see whether or not we're going to continue the upside or the downside. And I haven't checked futures yet, but I will check futures here in just a minute. Yes, I have seen the Visa falling wedge. We will go over that one for sure. I'll write that down. Anyway, so let's go ahead and really quickly set some alerts. So obviously pretty strong rebound here. One of the things I'm going to be looking for, and you guys are welcome to use your pivot points if you have those on your chart. But this level here, this is going to be the 441.15 level. That's where I want to see SPY climb above. Now, if it ends up rejecting that and pulling back, I'd be watching for a pullback to the 20-day EMA, and that's on the hourly time frame. The hourly time frame is my favorite time frame that I can kind of get a good median between the 5 and the daily. It's the literal median. So and as you'll notice, guys, volume of course on Friday is always weak, but volume this week was higher than average. And of course we had our first big pullback, so that could have been, or is likely, why we saw that big volume. But yeah, we'll look at WBA as well. But same thing here, guys, with SPY, or with the Qs and all of the major indexes here. We did get a bounce and a break and downtrend, so there is a possibility that we continue to see at least one more leg up. And with SPY having broken this little downtrend right here, if it does end up pulling back, it could make an inverse head and shoulders. So I'm setting an alert right here, 441. So if we get a break there, and then I like to set an alert on the actual 9-day moving average. So that way, if it breaks through it or even touches it, I get an alert. So I have an alert there. All right, let's go with the Qs. Literal, same thing. This is a textbook inverse head and shoulders here. What does that mean? If you can't see it, I'll show you right now. This is the shoulder, right? And this is on the hourly time frame. So this isn't a major trend setting type of pattern, or at least it's not going to have that same impact as it would on like a daily time frame, but it is enough to potentially give us room to break to the upside. Now, those of you who are just moderate investors, we've talked about this zone on the Qs. This zone has been an absolute nightmare to trade. And so really with the Qs, it's going to be the break above 370. I'm just going to call 370 because honestly, 369 isn't enough. And I'll give you that mark here so you can see there's that 370 mark here on the Qs. Guys, it's not like it's out of the question that we see one more leg up. But with the Qs right now and the way that they're set up, it's likely that we at least at a minimum go test the 369.50 or 370 level. And that's if we don't just gap down and continue to fall. But and of course, guys, you guys know this. Those of you who we've gone over the Qs last week, you know that we're in the side of this very, very long channel here on the Qs. And the longer we sit flat, the more room that we have to bounce to the upside. So rather than just a rejection, that's a rejection, we're getting chop, we're staying in range. So as long as we stay in this range, it gives us room both to the down and the upside, but it shows more strength underneath. So it gives it room to pop up and keep consolidating up against this resistance. So fix that support. Make sure if you guys don't have this chart on the cues, it's definitely worth drawing or having lines similar to this. This is, if you can, in Microsoft, a lot of the tech stocks, you'll notice if you go out to the weekly, will be inside of some sort of type of distinctive channels as well. So I guess I'm going to drink coffee. Hey, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that, man. Okay. Also that poll question, that's for those of you who are not in the Discord or those of you who don't have time to get in the Discord. There's just a prospective question. So anyway, so we got the cues kind of set up there. Oh, we're back from lunch. So with the Dow, all right. So major retest here. We are at that mark, or not retest, but we're at that retest mark for the Dow. This one, and granted, I see this correction here, but I mostly am focused on this support. And we fell, and with all of the other indexes, we kind of bounced up relatively nicely. With the Dow, I didn't really see that type of strength. It did, however, break this downtrend, right? So you have this smaller time frame downtrend, but again, kind of flagging here, it could absolutely, and don't, guys, just one thing to keep in mind, whenever you have a downtrend like this, and this is why, like, you know, the certain lessons come up as you can only learn things in the act of doing them. But a lot of times when you break downtrend, you'll use that downtrend as support and just continue to go down. So don't, make sure that you're paying attention to whether or not the volume within that bounce, because it's easy to fake somebody out with just a break and downtrend when you really need to see a significant break and downtrend, a bounce off a significant level. And that's one of the reasons why I brought up that bounce, or the fact that the SPY did not bounce off of its 50-day EMA, which it has done historically since COVID has dumped, or since COVID dumped the market. That's what SPY bounces off of, the 50-day EMA on the daily, and it's the first week that it doesn't actually touch it, but just hovers above it. So, okay, so we got the Dow. So far, I got Walgreens, SQ, and Microsoft on the list for request in the Discord. So yeah, I'm banned on TikTok right now, so I can't go live on there. What are the futures looking like? Okay, so futures are green so far. So we could see that leg up, and that's really what we're going to be looking for, is the daily break over the 9. I think we go and see potentially a new high. Don't be fooled though. We're going to be paying close attention to the volume. It's right when the fear is there that they're going to keep pumping. Like, so you get scared and then they pump it. And that is like reassuring. Okay, maybe we are going to blow it up. And then you get scared again and it goes up a little bit more. We've noticed that, right? It gets to a major resistance. It pulls back. Everyone says stock market crash. And then the cycle continues. So we're looking for real weakness within the market, and we are seeing real trend lines getting broken. But we have to remember that this market is designed to go up, and until we have data saying otherwise, we can't be super biased. We have to take it as it comes. So. All right. So we got the Dow. You're good, P. Peyton. She's all right. That's why I got crisp. All right. So lastly, guys, we have We have IWM. Now, this one I don't think is out of the woods. I do see this break and downtrend here, but this is actually unusual. We had this pre-market correction here where we kind of pulled back underneath the downtrend, and there was actually I remember this date, but we just like all the other indexes, we just broke downtrend. Okay, so what we're going to be looking for with the IWM is just a simple break above 416. 416, we have the level right above us. I think that's 417.50. You also have the 200-day EMA at this old gap. Now, this old gap has yet to be filled, right? So that's 218.50 all the way to 218.85. So not a huge gap, but enough of a gap that it might get filled here. So how did I get banned from TikTok? Absolutely nothing. I literally didn't do anything. I just that other chat group. Ever since I made a video, I I've been every one of my videos gets reported for like illegal drug activity. So I have somebody like directly targeting my videos to. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm not like I don't even think I just. I mean, honestly, I guess I got a break from TikTok, so I'm alright with it. Whatever. Um, I've already appealed it. It goes right back to normal after I do so. All right, so we got our major indexes kind of charted out. We got a wrap on them. IWM looks at like absolute garbage, just like every other one of the indexes. But again, it's at that zone where it bounces every time, and I hate looking at this chart because it's just like how does the market continue to do this and hold these levels? But before I move on from all of these major ETFs, I want you guys to look at one thing: is that all look at this 200-day EMA. Look how far away. Look at the distance that we've maintained. Right, that distance is getting real narrow. We're there. So it's not going to take much, just a simple tap. And that's one of the things I'm just have you guys keep in mind is that this goes for all of them. So the Q's still maintaining a healthy distance. This one's more or less more respective of the 50 EMA here. Usually you'll see a correction around that, but still all the same. SPY, ooh, that's not a ticker. SPY, jeez. Also, you'll notice that we're building up volume too as well. Yeah, so getting close to those major moving average breaks. So I mean, you'll see the 50-day, we get some space here as well. That goes for any major moving average, like the closer you get to them, it could either mean a bounce or it could mean a break. So that's what kind of the percentage of, it obviously has mostly to do with the current market, but your percentage goes up a lot for a potential pullback. So, all right. So Nvidia, I'll get TikTok ideas. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, TikTok's fun, but sometimes it's good to have a break anyway. So, what do you think of this stock, Coral? What's the ticker name on that one? Okay, so one of the stocks that I'm going to be watching. Now I know a lot of you guys saw me take a short position, or I know some of you guys actually ended up shorting Microsoft, but at least for a scalp on the pullback. I'm amazed. I can only I'll just leave it at that we've gone. Oh, what in the hell just happened, Microsoft? You guys see how this thing acts whenever I change time frames? Like, what was that? You knew exactly where. Get back over there. Okay. Anyway, so Microsoft guys is there. A lot of you guys know that I took profit on long-term swing on Microsoft, and I did that live on YouTube last week, live in the Discord. It was out. And the reason why I'm out is because it hit my target. And you guys remember that, and I have it on this mark here. That was August 15th that I posted a $300 price target. And I think the first time I mentioned, oh yeah, that's right. There it is. So actually July 5th, I apologize. July 5th is where I first marked my $300 price target. So my price target is hit. And that's kind of how it works with long-term investing. It's okay, right, to be like to choose like, okay, I'm not like, as far as a long-term investment, I don't think like what I have, was worth, like, I would much rather put more of this equity back into the bottom. And so with Microsoft, there is a high percentage, and I did see calls. Um, and this is one of the things, guys, I'm not going to let this line be my bias. There is absolutely 100% chance that Microsoft could break and pop up above this resistance. Now, am I going to let that cause me to FOMO in? Absolutely not. If it goes to 325, I'll scalp it and I'll leave it at that. But as far as a swing trade and stuff like that, I'm waiting for the pullback. So that's kind of how, and you'll notice, guys, that when Microsoft, look at this here, let's go over this together. So Microsoft, right, before its biggest pullback, had its biggest run, right? All-time highs. You get a little tap there, tap here, and a tap there. Now, it's highly likely that investors get faked out or we get kind of rung around with Microsoft. Now, Microsoft obviously still has, it's still a hot company, and I still think there's a lot of bulls believing it goes higher. But I personally am just looking at the price action that we've seen on Microsoft since we caught that bottom. And this is right around, this is why it's so important to look at quantitative data or just look at what money is going where, because Nancy Pelosi bought around 247 and we bought around 252, 253. And so if we're looking at the run that we've had on Microsoft, this is far enough. And for any investor, long-term, not even long-term, any type of, I'm going to take a position, hold it until it hits my target. That's a really significant run and one that I'm happy to take profit on. But we can look and look back at the cyclical nature of things and see that there is a high probability that we see Microsoft, after it makes a good run like this, potentially pull back. So again, I'm not going to let the bias of this line. I'll wait for a very clean rejection. It is highly probable that Microsoft pulls back a little bit. Or even if it doesn't pull back, it pulls back and then pops back up, gets retail to kind of fake out a little bit, and then we see a rejection off of that daily. So please keep in mind, even if you have to go and if those of you who are bulls or just you play Microsoft, don't be scared to set alerts at that top or even just at the price marks of 305 and 305.25, because here's the thing, volume was really high, which what do we usually say about high volume? Especially during a really good run, a lot of the times the highest volume during the run will be where the reversal occurs. And you can look back historically at most runs, big runs, and you'll notice that AMD is a prime example of something reversing on the day that it has the highest volume. And now those of you who don't know what volume is just the amount of shares traded in the given time. So for this daily candle here, that's you could say the highest amount of shares was traded around, right, where's my volume? 225 million. So, all right. Microsoft chart is clean. Pick curl. They do wrapping for batteries. Interesting. Okay. Hold on one second. I just had to tag everybody so people weren't sure where I was at. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So Now that we're done with Microsoft, guys, well, we're not done actually. One second. Let's go right back really quickly before I move on. Go down to the 15-minute hourly here. I just want to show you guys we are on the 9-day moving average. If you'll notice here, and this is kind of what we talk about, guys, about find the time frame that shows the most respect. So you'll notice, and a lot of times it'll be where the EMAs bend or kind of push. And so I think, what did we say it was? I did a one-on-one today, and we found the Microsoft. I think it was the 15-minute. So the 15-minute time frame, if you're day trading this, guys, below the 20, a candle close, obvious reversal, that's where it falls. You'll notice here when it accumulates on the 50 and breaks below it, that's usually when you'll see that pullback. But a lot of times that happens whenever the 20-day moving average catches up. So it did end with a bull flag, guys, and I'm not saying it can't go further. I just want to let you guys know that, but just make sure that you're finding or you have an idea of where that corresponding EMA is. So for me on the 15-minute, the 20-day EMA, and the 50-day EMA, also the hourly time frame, I do think that 300 or 301.25 is a potential retest level, and that's where the 20 EMA is on the hourly. One thing that I am aware of and watching as well before I move on is a very, very small gap down here around 285 to 282. So, all right, looking at AMD, another stock that we're watching, or I'm watching here this coming week, relatively clean chart here on the daily. You'll notice that it is, let's go to the 4-hour. There we go. You will notice that it is a falling wedge. This is normally a bullish reversal pattern. And so we're looking for, and you'll notice the 200-day is moving up here as well. Daily time frame, we are currently holding on to the 20 EMA. Now, for the most part, rule of thumb, you usually are going to look for 3 taps of resistance or 3 taps of support and then a pullback or then a breakout. So with AMD, we could see further consolidation. One good way to check, of course, and this is really important, and we're going to go ahead and do Nvidia as well on this one. Break down SQ on the watch list. Got you. What? That's hilarious. So semiconductors, guys. Let's pull some of these lines off real quick. Okay, so I think this is just like we did this with IWM a couple weeks back, guys. We just want to wait for that break and downtrend. We know where our resistance at. 4-hour is best for charting higher time frames like the daily because you can get a better idea of where that trend line is. So take a peek here. SMH is showing a bit of a reversal pattern. So it is highly probable that we see AMD more than likely. Now I'm not 100% here, but I'm looking at where it's at now. It is probable that we see AMD at least climb back up above 107.75. Market willing. That's the main thing always. But looking at where we're at here within this potential rising wedge, that's where I would like to see. Now, this is only if we do actually get a real reversal here. Hold on one second. Let me turn that down. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to turn that down a little bit. Yeah, I got you. Just one second, and we'll look at Nvidia as well. But anyway, so for SMH, which is our semiconductor ETF, we're going to be looking for a retest of around 259. Now a break above, and we're looking for a break of this downtrend, but this is likely where a further consolidation can happen, right? Now, if we look at the AMD chart, right, we'll see that there is room for further consolidation. So we're going to want to be very careful. I think that the entry or potential entry is going to be around 106.20 with decent volume, and then potentially above 107.75, we might be able to tag a swing into the 110, 112 level. So we'll be watching AMD. Now, one thing that I'm going to also say, guys, if you guys have small accounts, and the markets are going to reverse, or something happens like that, or things start to get really, really choppy, your positions need to be lighter. And I'll also urge you guys to make sure that your expirations, and this actually really goes for anybody, especially if you're new, your expirations need to be longer. They do not need, you guys do not need to be playing weekly contracts if the market starts to chop around based on news or anything of that nature, guys. Weeklies are how most people bleed their accounts. And I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, it's because people think that if they, because a contract is out of the money and cheaper, that it may be more lucrative, when really 80% of weekly options expire worthless. So, all right. Thank you guys for smashing the like button. I appreciate it. All right. So, Nvidia. Now, Nvidia here has a little bit of a different setup. Obviously, let's take a look. Now, this obviously looks like a super bullish setup right now. But I do think that I see room to what? Consolidate, just like AMD, just like the semiconductor ETF. Of course, guys, we have to keep in mind that Nancy Pelosi bought $100 calls. $100 calls. So even if Nvidia completely reverses and falls back down to 116 bucks with the expiration that she has and the position that she just bought, she's good. She's fine. And she could totally buy some type of hedge. So I will give you this. Nvidia's chart is cleaner than most and less reactive, except for the split, of course. But we have already passed earnings. I think dividends are coming up on the 31st. Past that, guys, I either see this going up and attempting one last tap of 200, but I do think that we could potentially see a pullback going into next week, or further consolidation, which is still a pullback. So if we reject here and we consolidate, I would expect to see a retest of likely 200 bucks if it tapers, or even maybe somewhere around 197.50. It depends on how the semiconductor ETF reacts. But that's with the way Nvidia looks right now, and you'll notice that the 50 EMA, see how the purple line? That's the 50-day EMA. Is lined up perfectly, showing me this is in trend, and this is a well-respected trend line. With Nvidia, it's pretty simple. Make sure you set your alerts up at 209, 208.50. You can go down here to the hourly time frame. You will notice that the volume was really, really substantial. That, of course, comes from a support bounce. I do think that of all of the semiconductor companies, obviously Nancy probably knows some shit, so maybe this thing absolutely skyrockets into the $300 range. Who knows? But at the moment, with the current market sentiment, if we end up getting a rejection here, like I said, I would suspect a 197.50 to $200 retest, and then potentially a bounce back out for what would be an ascending triangle. So, question: do weekly move higher in price than let's see, do weeklies move higher? We're always watching the same thing. That's right, Big Step. It's legendary. Uh, sorry, I'm reading this. My brain just broke down trying to read that without the S. I'm sorry, that's me. Question: do weeklies move higher in price than a further date? So, are you asking, do weeklies do you gain, are they more lucrative? Like, are you able to make more money than you would with a further date? If that's what you're asking, technically, yes, you can put in a little less of an investment and get a far greater return, but you are obviously within higher risk. So to mitigate that risk, you buy a further out expiration. That way you can use the weeklies are literally that's our options, in themselves are meant for hedging, right? Like, I mean, that's not like the sole purpose, but like to hedge your positions. So why not go long and then utilize weeklies? So that way, even if you're wrong, you're still right. You know what I mean? So like it doesn't matter which way. So like let's say you're at a trend line, you bought a call midway, it reversed on you, but you're out, 3 months and you're down, but you decide to go ahead and find your trend, find your resistance, find levels, and you scalp it to the downside, right? And you use weeklies. Okay, now you are less scared of bounces because you want them, and you're more taking it. You're more or less taking advantage of a position, and that's what long positions are like renting equity. And if you think about it like that, you start to look at weekly options as a way to maximize the gains that you could potentially have, because obviously your option doesn't gain money when it goes down, only goes money, or depends on if it's a call option, obviously only gains money with positive movement to the upside, and then put to the downside. But if you're able to do both, there you go. And I will be honest, it's a scary time for me to be taking long positions. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that, guys. I will update you guys in the morning on any other stocks. I obviously, guys, Tesla. I've been kind of crushing Tesla lately, so it is on the watch list. I do have what looks to potentially be a pennant here, and I'm not quite sure if I want to leave this wick in. Um, and I'm not quite too sure, but I haven't decided whether that wick is important to me or not. But more than likely, this is going to see some movement to either the up or the downside. I'm suspecting that Tesla bulls are going to launch their attack on Monday morning. And we do have this downtrend here that's probably going to be one of the more respected ones. 200-day EMA on the hourly is going to be a level to watch for as well. But this is a little bit of a pennant here, but it's coming from a downtrend. So underneath, likely underneath 170, 169, we'll see Tesla go and pull back. And there is a gap. The remainder, excuse me, the remainder of a gap to go fill, and that gap gets filled at 665. So Tesla to the downside would likely push 672, 50, right around 669, and then fill that gap to 665. If it did end up breaking to the downside. The upside, we'd like to see it above 690, 690, 689, 55. I would go down, especially obviously scalpers know what you're going to do Monday morning. Those of you who are in the Discord, joining the Discord, whatever. Is Bitcoin about to hit 50? Or what is it doing? Sorry, I just got an alert on Bitcoin. Yeah, watch this. Watch Bitcoin go and make a higher high. We'll see. Yo, watch this. It's gonna go up to 50 and then reverse right in people's faces and go right back down to support. That's rude. Anyway, sorry. All right. Back to stocks where I belong. For those of you trading Tesla, I'm sending an alert on this trend line here, 672. I'm going to set an alert here at 685. That's this previous wick up. So I want to make a higher high. So in this small downtrend, we'd like to make a higher low, I guess, rather than continuing to make lower lows or lower highs here. So again, 669 or 690, 685 are two levels that we'll be watching for. High volume, of course, is what we want to see. We can step out to the daily and we can see that even though we had a Tesla AI day and all this crazy stuff and weird robots I think the internet's like thinks they're hot or something. Sexy robots from Tesla. We still saw pretty low volume here, so indecisive candles, but obviously it looks like it is a that's an obvious rejection here, and you're getting close to what looks like could be a potential pullback. So we would be watching this to the up or the downside. Notice how crypto has been running on no volume. That is absolutely the number one thing to yeah, no volume. That's the number one thing. So yeah, so yeah, I have to see what you're saying exactly. She just wants to exercise. Maybe not like in real life, but she does real weird rituals for. I'm just kidding. All right. All right. What do we got here, guys? All right. So WBA, Walgreens. I do a lot of this live, so bear with me. This is just how I would do a chart if I was looking at it by myself. So, damn, that sure looks like a kind of a Head and Shoulders. I'm like, is this the? Did I put the right one in? Where's that gap? Ah, there it is. Oh, okay. You're sending me the chart from down on the lower time frame. Is that right? You're looking at this. Is that right? Interesting. All right, I see more respect here. Is that what you were looking at? 1 hour? Okay. Okay. So yeah, obviously above 48.65. Simple gap fill to 49. Likely a push to the previous resistance. So don't sleep on that as a potential target. So you could say maybe 49.25, depending on the movement, 49 even. So I definitely see that on the hourly. The daily, on the other hand, I want to say, I mean, it tried, but kind of looks like a hot can of garbage. So if it goes and retests and does push 49.38, then potential rebound. But it needs to fill that gap. So I would play the gap fill for sure. Okay. So we got WBA. I got Microsoft already, Goots. So I guess that was already good. Okay, so I think we already talked about SQ last week, potentially going for a bounce. Now, one thing, oh my gosh, why do you look like that? So this chart, first of all, is just a absolute mess. Um, But all that being said, I would say square above 266.70, and it's likely going to go try for another stab at resistance. Now, like I said, this chart is absolutely bonkers. Like it's kind of more or less like looking at the linear levels, right? Where you see multiple rejections. So this level here at square, and that's the 285 level, that is where we have seen the majority of our troubles, I guess. And I don't want to confuse anybody who's new to charting, but a lot of the times this is called a megaphone pattern. Megaphones can be ascending or descending. And as you'll notice here on square, there is no channel. This thing is making that megaphone pattern. And as long as it stays and bounces off support, it could end up going to $300. I know that sounds absolutely just batshit crazy, but I've seen these megaphone patterns work that way. And when it hits 300, the pullback is even greater, right? Because the price action width gets wider and wider. So you start really tight. You run into a catalyst. The catalyst widens that range, and then so we end up having. So basically, what you can do here is you can go to the daily time frame, start from your high here. You can run it off that wick, and you can basically say boom, and really I wouldn't say it's super far fetched to go ahead down to the lower time frame, right? So like down to your hourly here and get a more accurate depiction of where exactly that downtrend is. So we're actually in a very pivotal place on Square chart. Square just made it onto my freaking watch list. Okay. So Square, this is how we're going to play this. We're going to set some levels. We're going to go ahead and get lined up because this might be the scalp. Now it's Monday, so we could be a little bit, obviously these are going to be a little bit more expensive. So I don't know if we're going to be able to hit it with the megaphone equals bleh. I know, buddy, but it can be really fun to trade. Yeah, I really want to kind of turn this light down. It makes me look like Snow White. I actually do go outside. I'm not that pale. Okay, anyway, so Square here, you guys can see that we are bottoming out, right? So we're not going down. Sellers aren't, or in fact, you'll notice sellers pushed it, or buyers pushed it back into that zone. So the same zone that we broke into is the same zone that we want to break above, and that's at 265.50. 265.50. So basically 264 is where the 200-day EMA is. So we can go ahead and set an alert on that. That's actually at 263.78. So 263.78, that break will give you a run to 265. So scalpers, watch that level, 263.75. 263.75, run to 265. 265 gets broken, good volume. I think that it's permissible to say that we at least at a minimum, I would say, yeah, I don't want to go. I would say 265, or excuse me, 266, even 267.50. But um, based on, and this is the thing, based on previous moves that we've seen from Square off support, like this one, this was obviously earnings related. That it is highly likely that we get a good springboard. Otherwise, if we get a rejection, then I would look for further consolidation, right? So more chop. SQ has also respected the 50 EMA on the daily numerous times. Yes, it has. I bet you if you take it out to the weekly, it's riding. Yeah, look at that. It's riding the 9. So look, rather than the 9 and the 20, look how those bounce. Ooh, that's a bullish. I like it. Cool. Okay. Otherwise, just so we're not being biased, right? If we pull back this week, and I really don't want to. I mean, hold on. Before I go any further, just in case I'm wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong, if we reject that level that I talked about, right, and we end up going back down, the first 260 break, 252.50, we could end up stretching or extending the megaphone. That's where things get tricky. So further downside isn't out of the question, but we are going to go ahead and just make sure that we set our alerts. A good alert to set would be right above this level. You'll notice right here. Look at where that red line. We bounced there multiple times, but you can also bring that up just a little bit. Set that alert right there at 260 on the dot. A break below 260, you'll drop down to this shelf of 253, and then you could potentially see yourself down to 245 before you see a bounce. All right, so Do I think Baba will continue down or possibly rebound this week? I'll take a look. Hold on 1 second. Starbucks, INTC, and yeah, I don't see that being a real trend. So I gotta be honest with you on Starbucks. It is in absolute 100% dire need of a bounce. You'll notice that this 20-day EMA, where it rests at the moment, is where it intends to springboard off of. So right there, this is the weekly. We are there. On the daily, um, you'll notice that the 50, this purple line here, the 50-day EMA. Those of you who are wondering, I use 3 EMAs. I use the 20, the 50, and the 200. I also don't know why that's a 9. That's supposed to be a 500. Stupid. Okay. Oh, whoops. That's the wrong one. Okay. So, with Starbucks, draw this downtrend. That's your downtrend, right? 4-hour, same thing. Okay. So here's what's going to have to happen. 115.62, 115.65, I'll go ahead and just say 116. So you're going to want to see 116, 116.75 in order to see a rebound around 119.35. Now, this is normally where, if you look at, like we just discussed on the weekly, this is where we normally get a rebound. But we are more than likely going to get some sort of bounce, and that bounce could take us to 118. And if you go look back down here on the hourly, where did that go? Or excuse me, the 4-hour, that HMA is at 119.28. So right in that range. Now everything else is looking, we look weak. This is holding downtrend rather well. So if it goes for another rejection, then it just continues to the downside. But you do have the potential with a falling wedge like this for a reversal. But again, let me make something very clear. This is where check yourself. Okay, check yourself and make sure that you're on the money with things, because you could also take a step back here. And don't get confused, those of you who are new, because this kind of stuff can be a little confusing, but a head and shoulders, right? So here on the 4-hour time frame, we see what could potentially end up playing out as a head and shoulders, but we also see a falling wedge. So we know there's 2 different potentials here for a reversal. And if we go and look at where we're at on the weekly or the daily, we know that we're very, very close to or at support. We're also at that moving average that we respect the most. So look at that, right? There we go. So we're at that support line, right? And I don't think. Yeah, so it's basically now or never. Either this next week we see a significant reversal from Starbucks above, and it does. I don't know if those are tweezer bottoms, but basically above 115. Above 115, you have a small gap on the daily. The gap gets filled at 115.85. Then you have that 116.25 mark, and then if you can break above that, this could end up being a reversal around 117 to 118. So, okay. Chewy earnings play. I got that one in just a second. INTC. I actually covered INTC. Watch this one for a bounce. This is a potential reversal pattern here. A lot of falling wedges. This has gaps everywhere. There's gaps everywhere on INTC, but it does have a gap above it that has yet to be filled. Most gaps do get filled. So watch this one. I would say more than likely above 52.75. That's where I would first watch or keep an eye on that one. Above 53, 53.50. Go down here to the hourly time frame. You can even draw a smaller downtrend. And this is how you do this, right? So just stepping off really quick, those of you who are traders, each time frame is going to correlate with a certain expiration date or whatever the case may be. So if we're looking at the hourly, right, this hourly break and downtrend could give us a double bottom-ish type pattern, and we would be looking for a break above 52.30 for a potential push up to this 200-day EMA, which has been well respected, which is around 53.25. And that could lead us to a bounce up and out towards resistance of this falling wedge. So. All right. So Starbucks on you still setting up, still funky looking. Back down to support. So it does have what looks to be a cup and handle on the daily. It is at that support line. Again, I think, yeah. So there we go. So basically above 194, 195 really is going to be that mark that we're going to really want to see volume step up. Above there, I think that a crack at that 178 level or 198. You guys have to just forgive my dyslexia. But 170, 198, my numbers are getting mixed up right now, but 198 level, we could see this massive gap. Now this gap fill, right, could and would likely push us up and fill the gap. So you'll notice that the HMA, guys, everything is screaming that this gap is going to get filled. The HMA has crawled over and lined up with my downtrend. My downtrend, just based off of basic timing, right? So if I was to time this out till September, right, when a lot of people, including myself, think that we'll start to downtrend for real. And so looking at that, oh, come here. There we go. So looking at the timing of things, right? HMA crawls over. It's September 2nd. So I'm thinking by September, the first week of September, we'll likely have this gap filled on UPS. And that's when I really think that the market's going to start to, if we're going to pull back, I mean, we're likely going to finish August. I think, and I don't know, I just don't see it pulling back. But there's the potential we have one last fake out, one last rally, and that would be likely where I would call it quits on UPS. So okay, sorry. Make sure you set your alerts on that one around 194, 50, 195, because that one could be a good swing play if you get into the gap. But what is happening? Oh, you guys always knows that yawning hits me so hard. It's like feels like a sickness. All right, so I know you guys see your falling wedge, but let me back that up even more with a support bounce on the weekly, right? So that's pretty awesome because what you want to see now, this actually brings up a really unique opportunity to teach you guys about lower and higher time frame opportunity or analysis, right? So you could do this from support or supply and demand. You could do this based off of basics, linear or basic levels. So here on Visa, right, this is a previous breakout level that we had. That's 228.50. That's where we just retested. On top of that, we have you guys are pointing out that we see a potential falling wedge, right? So this falling wedge coming out from here, starting off this bottom and coming down, making it look a really nice clean reversal pattern. It also has 1, 2, 3 bounces off support. So it's very highly likely. Now, what did we also see with Visa? We saw an immense amount of call flow, right? A golden sweep. Those of you who aren't in the Discord, we have flow in the Discord, and it lets us know when major flow like that, and that's called a golden sweep when it's over $1 million in premium. And those were for what is relative, I think it was like 135 strikes. So here's what we do. The same levels that we break are the same levels we want to our breakdown from, the same levels that we want to reverse from. So one of the first levels that we're going to be watching is going to be this one right here. That's going to be 235 or 234 on the dot. That was a wick that we hit as well. I would also anticipate the psychological number of 235. Visa is one of those stocks that when it decides to pop, you're going to know it. And so setting alerts and making sure that, and really any time that Visa pulls back, and you'll notice here, when it pulls back like this, it does it, the first initial 2 days after that bounce tend to be the strongest. And that usually it runs straight into the HMA. The HMA is sitting right up around 240. So I would anticipate Visa, if it does decide to run, a run up to 240 is highly likely, which could end up being a good swing and day trade. So yes, your guys' falling wedge does look great. And also, on top of it being a falling wedge, we want to see a lower time frame reversal pattern on a higher time frame support. Write that down. So if you're analyzing the higher time frame, you want to see a reversal pattern on a lower time frame around that support level or around that bounce level, right? That's that is awesome. That is how a lot of the swing trades that I've taken in the past have come to fruition, because I've been able to see that not only does it look like it's on support on the daily, but it also has a reversal pattern letting me know that the reversal is in play. Yondikitis. There you go. I am plagued. Okay, so we got Chewy. Chewy. Why is everything in just channels? Channels. So many channels. It's just like HBO. Sorry. Okay, so let's go to the day of the year. That's pretty bad. Let's see. We would like to hope that's not that was a correction. So this looks like a respectable channel. Multiple wicks off of said channel, 50-day EMA, holding quite a bit of respect. Okay, so when something falls, this is a good lesson. When something falls, let me simplify this even more. Look how little time we run from $74 to 118, right? So between February 12th and December 20th or December 3rd, we run from 74 to 110. From May 21st till August 21st, right? We've gone from 97 to 66. That is not strength. That is weakness. And you need to remember that in a downtrend. And that goes for any downtrend, right? If the pullback or the bounce up is a huge a huge signal on whether or not you have continuation to either side. So a bull flag, right? On like and I'm not seeing any good examples here, but a bull flag or a pullback, maybe even this could be acceptable. I don't like that, but a pullback, go up, pull back, doesn't break any lows, lots of wicks. Okay, new higher high. Of course, this is a reversal pattern. You guys could probably see that, and this is a good way to practice. That is a rising wedge, right? That's an obvious reversal. That's a textbook reversal pattern. Spills. So right here out of this channel, honestly, guys, below $85, Chewy bites the dust. At least back down to 70, $80. So $5 drop at a minimum. At that point, you could possibly talk about a reversal. Now, if you want to go down to the hourly and see if we have some type of reversal pattern, let's do that. Now, if we pull this back down, this is our downtrend, right? We can speculate that this is our support. Now, Yeah, so I would leave it at that. To be honest with you, I would leave it there. And really, it's going to be a matter of bouncing up. You may even get a retest of 88 to 80, 87, 88.75, and then break from there. But otherwise, I would set an alert at today's or $86 basically, and basically a break below $85. I would expect Chewy to start trending to the downside because overall, the strength that we've seen, which or the lack of strength that we've seen here in this run, is signifying to me that there is likely very little down upside from here if we do not pull off some type of gargantuan reversal. So, all right. Daniel said, okay, what is happening here, my guy? Okay, so this is what looks to be mostly algorithms trading, right? So computers trading shares back and forth to each other. And that's essentially what you're seeing here. So if they do battery wrapping, they probably got to be a little bit more vocal about it, because there's no volume here, not a ton of liquidity, a lot of algo trading. And this is, if you don't know what algo trading, that's what it looks like. That's a 5 minute. So here's a share. No, I don't want that. Here, you have it back. And here's more. Nope, I don't want it. And continue on and so forth. It's just giving them back and forth to each other. So not much to go off of on stocks like that. What you want to do with stocks like that is just set major price marks, right? So we can say we could go to the daily here, right? And we can say, all right, above 235 is a good place to keep an eye on whether or not the volume rises. And it is at support, so a bounce is highly likely here. Might be good above that 230, 240 mark to go and retest the $3 mark. But again, these are just shares being passed and forth. So higher time frame reversal on lower time frame. No, lower time frame reversal on a higher time frame bounce. Do I recommend piggybacking off of pump and numbers? That is extremely risky trading plan, but go for it. I would highly recommend doing that with not weekly options because then you are part of the pump and you can't predict whether you're going to get out on the dump, and it's going to be hard to control when everybody gets out all at once. All right, y'all. That is okay, cool. Yeah, got it. Okay. All right, what else are we looking at, guys? It is about 9:30. It's about time too. So, holy shit. Excuse me. You know, Nancy ain't doing that good. Okay. All right. Her portfolio is not that strong. I mean, she's rich. Looks like she's making a reversal pattern though. Damn, Tom, you need to quit. Sorry, I'm just. I guess maybe Nancy's not that bad. Gilbert, though, look at that guy. He's got a good trading plan. Just don't make anything. Same with you, Alan. What do you got? Longest in term investments. Oof, shit. That man was in tech. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna roast all the senators. I just want to see what they're buying. Sale, purchase, DD. Okay, people buying some DD. What do we got? Hey, yes, CRN looks sick. I'm gonna set an alert on it. It's crossing the HMA. It's above the HMA. This one's likely cleared for takeoff. Back into the 260s. I'll take that one for a swing trade with you guys. Above this high 257, I would take the 260 265 strike till September, or I would take a 260 strike for next not this upcoming week, but next week. So that is quiver quantitative. I will post this for you right now, so that way you guys. You know what I'm gonna do right now? I'm gonna make a little channel. We'll do an analysis. Top websites. This is in the Discord. I'm gonna post quiver quantitative in here. There you go. Okay. Maybe send it. He was in tech, man. Damn, bro. Tommy been trading Cliff. Next time Cliff drops, I don't know if David's on here, but next time Cliff drops, blame it on Tommy. Fuck. Excuse me. Look at Tommy, dude. Tommy's been trading his butt off. Well, he bought and sold Baba. He paper handed it. Look at it, 260. What is this? What is you doing? He sold $20 worth of Cliff. All right, Tommy, you're done. I'm done with you, Tommy. All right, let's go ahead. What do we got? PGC. We're gonna go ahead and shut it down. Thank you guys again, as always, for tuning in. Appreciate you guys very much. Oh yeah. All right, let's see. Yeah, no problem. Where do I get that info from? Robert, yeah, okay, you guys got that? Yeah, Robert, everybody I just posted it in there, so we're good to go on that one. All right. I have a big TV over there, by the way, with all of your guys' comments. So if you see me staring over there, I'm actually looking at you guys. Not at you. I can't see you, but you know what I mean. Daniel, fucked up. That's funny. All right, so PCG, PPAC, PPAC Gladstone Financial Corporation. Who are these people? They felt COVID and they've prepared themselves from COVID. That would really suck if the market turns around again. Mm, you know, I'll be honest with you, and I think that some people would, like Atlas, would likely agree with me on this one. This is not a very fun stock to trade. I gotta be honest with you. It is whatever's popping here. I don't know if it's just not a lot of shares, low flow. I don't know what this is, but the very algo traded. You'll notice that there's almost a sea of red. So this is, if anything, a long-term stock or something like that. But on a technical basis, it is up against your 9-day moving average, up against your HMA, up against bouncing off your 20. It is all wrapped up and enveloped inside of those EMA. So it is at a cornerstone, if you will, of whether it's going to move to the up or the downside. And normally when you see this type of price consolidation, Daniel, you're normally looking for a definitive candle, right? A daily or whatever that may be in that direction. Now, normally we'd like to see 3 tries at that particular resistance. So this one's going to be 34 bucks. So our next stab at 34 bucks, we're going to want to watch big volume or whatever it takes to get this thing moving. Now, on the contrary, you can draw a line here and run it from the bottom, right? So this is going from what could be called a swing low, right? Because a swing trade from July, that's a swing. August, someone buying equity, holding it for a couple of months, that's almost a leap, more of a swing. So from there, that's the nearest low, right, before you bounce. So you can draw it off of that nearest low, and there is a natural angle. And once we get to start charting that, you'll notice the natural angle. You'll notice those angles, and you say, okay, I see where it's respecting a trend, right? That's what's happening right now. So we are very much enveloped. These are the trend, and we are making the decision on whether we want to move to the upside or the downside. Again, not a lot of good. The movement here is really awful, very algorithmically traded computers, but otherwise, it looks good. I feel honored. Yes, Tate. This is just for yours. Actually, I have you on a Nokia phone. All your comments are coded to come in on a small iPod type Nokia. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow, guys. Wake up early with me if you guys want to trade pennies. If you guys have a small account, give penny trading a little bit if there's movement there. But if not, guys, tomorrow I want to wake up early. I want to look at your stocks. So if you could know anybody else who's interested in trading or they're long-term holders or they have any questions, feel free to share this video with them. Share this link. I'll go ahead and actually make the link for that live for tomorrow, likely tonight. But I will be on as early as possible. So probably around 8 o'clock. Watch in the Discord for the alert. That's going to be the everyone channel. Oh, that'd be sick, dude. Yeah, is it come with the skateboard? If it comes with a longboard, yes. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Yeah. Yeah, you guys too. Night, Anna. Night, Daniel. Robert. See you guys. Thank you guys. Big stepper. All right, guys. Peace. Have a good night. Oh, before I go, guys, there will be some type of I don't know what I'm going to use, OnlyFans or something like that, but I will be making videos. And if you guys want a custom video, I haven't gotten a price. I may just do like a donation thing. But if you guys want a custom video of the stock that you're looking at, and there will be 3 tiers where you can select long-term trend, full breakdown, like the works if we're looking at car wash metaphors, but and then and that's for people obviously who are not in the Discord but would like my analysis. So anyway, night. Have a good night. Bye bye.